askreddit. What's your holy shit IT works moment? Looking at the opposing person's elbow while high-fiving to get a perfect slap every time. This is one of my favorite bar tricks. No one believes it until they try it. I read the book Never Split the Difference, which was written by an FBI hostage negotiator about how to use negotiation tactics in everyday life. Around the time that I was reading it, my sister asked me to talk to her oldest son about some poor choices he was making, getting into the wrong crowd and all that. Against all odds he still thinks I'm cool, so I decided I'd give it a shot and use some of what I'd read in the book to get him to talk. One of the big things in the book is mirroring, wherein you just repeat the last thing that a person said and they keep unpacking what they're talking about, without actually being asked a question. The author describes it like a Jedi mind trick because it allows you to get the person talking without them ever feeling interrogated. They essentially interviewed themselves. So I tried it with my nephew and it was friggin' amazing. He's normally kind of quiet and doesn't like to talk too much about himself, but I asked him one question and then mirrored his response and boom, he started talking. I was amazed at how the junk worked. Edit. Many have asked, what do you do if it doesn't work? Obviously this can happen. That's where the other components of negotiation come in. One method is intentionally mislabeling something a person feels or believes which motivates them to get talking. It sounds like you were frightened about this. I'm not frightened. I'm upset. That kind of thing. There are a bunch of different ways to get people talking. Also asking how questions whenever possible. Those are open-ended and give the person speaking the opportunity to explain something, and people generally like telling how they did things. It gives them a feeling of superiority. Don't ask why questions because they're accusatory. Try to get them to say no, as it gives them a feeling of safety, especially when you're okay with them saying no. When you hear someone express a belief, reword it back to them to show that you're listening and make it your goal to get them to say that's right, which means they feel understood. Rather than saying you're right, which really just means stop talking. It's a really good book and there are lots of methods discussed in it. Read it yourself if you want to see. I had foot warts for years and tried various painful methods of getting rid of them that only seemed to aid their spread. Someone recommended tea tree oil to me and I scoffed at their essential oil bullshit. They bought it for me, so I figured I'd try it. Within the week they started to get smaller and recede. 3 months later the warts were completely gone and I could stop being embarrassed by my bare feet. When I started the whole process I asked my doctor first and she suggested trying duct tape. Several months later of that not working, I had a dermatologist appointment and she recommended OTC wart remover or just waiting a few years for them to go away. It made my skin crack and bleed and it spread the warts to more parts of my foot. I tried digging at them with razors when the acid burned away the surrounding skin, and freezing some. Nothing showed any signs of helping until I tried the tea tree oil. Poaching an egg in a microwave. Had never managed to poach an egg, always ended up with egg drop soup, which isn't what you want for breakfast. A Redditor mentioned the microwave method. Break the egg into a small bowl of water, microwave for 45 seconds, and gave it a go. And it bloody well worked. No muss no fuss. That was a proud breakfast. Did you know you can also whip up a pretty great hollandaise sauce in the microwave? You beat 2 egg yolks, half a lemon, juiced, and half a cup of melted butter and put it in the microwave for 15-second increments, each time beating it again until it's thick, and then you season it to taste, and that's it. You could do a whole eggs Benedict in the microwave and it's not even hard. Lowering my voice to diffuse an argument. All the as seen on TV stuff my dad and I have bought. Most of it does exactly what it says ... at least once. At least once? It always works the first time you use it. Depending on the product, the same can't be said for the second or third time you use it. I work on cell towers for a living and most of the time my crew is in some pretty remote areas. Truck battery died one day and it's about 8 p.m. getting real dark when we get the bright idea to jump-start the diesel truck with a 18V Milwaukee drill battery. So we cut the jumper cables in half and spliced some lugs onto the end, shoved them into the thin slots on the battery. Make sure you know which is positive and which is negative or you'll burn the battery. Connected the still intact jumper cable end to the truck and it fired up instantly. No need to wait or anything. In fact, waiting will just drain the drill battery and not charge the truck battery. I seriously couldn't believe it worked. Half my brain was telling me that it's stupid, but I worked as an electrician apprentice for 2 years, so the other half of my brain was like, well, theoretically it should work. P.S. Just know your drill battery will be at 0% after that, so charge it again before you need it. I hope this comment doesn't get buried and actually helps someone. Edit. People are suggesting push-starting it, but this tower was in a farmer's field and pushing a diesel truck through soft dirt wasn't gonna work. Even if it was possible, this method is far easier. IMO. Baking a dead graphics card in the oven for 10 minutes at approximately 400 degrees really can bring it back to life. Not always, but it worked for me. Holy crap, it works. I used to fix my phone, back when the password decryption or something similar was broken, by stuffing it in the freezer for a few hours. Was able to log in without any issues each time afterwards, when before it wouldn't process my password. I have no idea how it worked. Asking my boss for a day off. I grew up in a hardcore traditional Asian household. Pain and sickness is all in the mind. Suck it up. Education is more important than recovering. There's no such thing as overworking or getting tired if there are people more successful than you. That kind of thing. In college I worked myself half to death, clocking in well over 50 hours per week on top of classes and internships. Between supporting myself and school, my compromise was to just focus on both and not care about my health, let alone my severe sleep deprivation. One day I finally snapped and wanted to call off work 5 minutes before a long day shift. I wrote the most polite, scared text that may as well have been a UN speech in the Humanitarian Council. For the first time, someone superior to me acknowledged that my health is important, that it's okay to take care of myself, and to take a break. I didn't make a habit of calling off on short notice, but yeah, I never thought personal wellness would be an acceptable reason to take a break. I told an older teammate of mine that I was having relationship troubles. His advice was to speak calmly to my girlfriend and tell her that I understood her, but she was not being very rational on the issue. The next time I got into a fight with her, I did exactly what he said, calmly telling her she was not being rational. And I couldn't believe it, but it actually worked. Fight was diffused and we made passionate love. Just kidding, we had the biggest fight we've ever had, leading us to go on a break for a couple of weeks. More of a holy crap, it doesn't work moment. Back in the day, my brother left a 5.25 inches floppy disk in his car, and the sun warped it to the point that we couldn't use it when we needed to reinstall the program on it. Figuring I had nothing to lose, I carefully cut open a spare floppy disk and transferred the storage media from the warped one into the good one. I popped it into the drive, and we were able to copy the files off of it onto a new blank disk. It was such a long shot. I was excited when it worked. Here's a different one. I am the owner of an 80-year-old Mosin Nagant rifle from the former Soviet Union. Damn thing went through World War II. I took it out to shoot and found that it did not shoot straight, at all. Multiple different people tried to hit steel and paper targets and just managed to hit wildly high, right, or both. I fired up the old internet box and proceeded to seek a solution to my wayward former Nazi killer, only to be told by multiple old firearms blogs that Mosins were zeroed at the factory with bayonets attached and will not shoot straight without one unless they are re-zeroed. Something about barrel harmonics. Anyway, $30 and shipping, and a week later I was able to put this theory to the test. In my utterly unscientific trials I found that yes, The bayonet does indeed make the rifle shoot straight. My friend at the range and I were both very pleasantly surprised and had a good chuckle. Now I can ring steel dots and detonate National Socialist watermelons all day and night. TL, Dr. Bayonet make communist garbage rod into bona fide bane of Hitler. I was a single mom one cold winter and there was a huge cold snap. The water pipe in my garage burst late one Friday, spraying water all over, where it started to freeze. I called all the plumbers in the valley but they were busy with pipes popping all over town, would have charged a weekend surcharge, and anyway couldn't come out till Monday. So my kids and I figured out how to turn off the water supply to the house, and I replaced the broken pipes at the hardware store for $1.35. I was so proud when I screwed it in and we turned on the water. Where's my Superman cape? Someone told me that if you burn your tongue, you can rub a lemon on it and it will be better in no time. I didn't believe it, but then I tried it and it actually works like a charm. Not snoozing my alarm and getting up when it first rings. I'm much less lethargic throughout the day.